Yeah. All right. For those who don't know you, what's your name?
My name is Myron Dewey, founder of Digital Smoke Signals.
And what tribe are you from?
I am Paiute Shoshone Agaitika from the Walker Paiute tribe, the Bishop Paiute tribe, and also Tamok Shoshone.
And what are you doing now? We'll go back to Standing Rock, but what are you doing now in this time after Standing Rock? What are you in the process of?
We're out here bringing awareness outside of Standing Rock on the Dakota Access Pipeline and the atrocities that it's created going through sacred sites, the historical trauma that it's brought upon the people with the desecration of sacred sites and also the water, and then educating everyone around about what does it mean and why should it be important and why you need to share what we're talking about and how it'll affect you and your community down the road.
So what communities have you gone to? Are there any you want to mention?
The University of Washington, to the School of Law, Marysville, come down to Oakland, went down to Oakland at the Indian Center over there, the community in Oakland and around San Francisco, and now we're here in Santa Cruz and getting ready to head to Los Angeles. And to bring awareness also that there are around 586 that are pending charges, felony charges, to protect the water and to share with them, how the system and the due process was violated, First Amendment and the Religious Freedom Act and the Geneva Convention.
So what do you feel like it's important for people to keep an eye on now in terms of if they're, at home and they're wanting to be involved? What is a way that people can still participate in supporting?
Yeah, one way to support is, what I think what the goal of Digital Smoke Signals is, we went home to our families and took care of our spirit. And we were there at camp, and we were there for 5 months straight, and it was a time that we needed to rotate out and rotate some more in, but a lot of transition happened during them holidays. And so now the goal is to bring awareness on what's going on inside the camp as well as outside, and what can you do. Well, there's a lot you can do. One of the things we need is a cleanup crew because the water's going to raise, the camp's got to move. So it's important to coordinate in your community with, I think, the people on the ground in Standing Rock that are there at the camps, to share with them when the camp starts to move, they need help. I think what's important is that we need at Standing Rock to make sure that they have a place to come to, so if there's a few tents specifically made for those coming in to help, and it's just a solution. I'm thinking that there's one of the problems is a place to stay, and if you're at the camp, you get to experience what the people at the camp are going through, even if it is minus 40 degrees, that we need to make sure that we have a place for them. They got to be self-reliant though. Even if they bring an army tent and say, okay, we're going to bring it here, we're going to set up a place for everyone to stay with cots, sleeping bags, and then, a kitchen, and to make sure that when we come, we're not taken away from the camp. And this is just part of the solution I'm thinking that we need to do. And then so plan for 2 weeks, 1 week, and come up, and when we need that help to move the camp, we're going to need that help, bring down teepees, take down yurts, and clean up our area.
Okay, and so for you personally, are you dealing with a court case, or how are things going with you legally?
Yeah, like many of the water protectors, my case was pushed forward. And so that's one of the issues that we got to do right now is make sure we keep track of what's happening in the laws. The laws are very important. They're trying to skew the laws to our water protectors, and it's important that we continue to share what's happening in Bismarck Tribune, what's happening in the legislature. Something very, very shady is happening in the legislative law. So we need you guys to keep an eye on that law, keep an eye on what they're taking to Congress, keep an eye on what they're trying to take and change in the state, because it's going to determine the future movements that's happening in these movements and the resistance and protection of sacred sites and protection of water.
And so what charges are you facing specifically?
I'm charged with stalking Dakota Access mercenaries that were up on the hill. They were actually stalking our people, and I was asked to go and document the vehicle and who they were. And that's what I did. We documented who they were. The charges, though, when you get stalking, is this was a one-time deal. This isn't something that was always being done. So when they come through the camp and when they come through and they harass people or get right behind them, this is what we were witnessing them do, and it's not okay. And now that we're documenting all those inaccuracies, which also we documented Morton County Police Department doing the exact same thing, and so that's filmed on Facebook Live, and we're holding them accountable.
So in your average day, I mean, you were at camp since August, right?
Yes.
So on an average day, when did your day begin and end? What was your kind of like your work day time frame wise?
It was 24/7.
And you did that for how long?
5 months.
5 months. And this is all just through labor of love.
Labor of, yeah, and much help from collected a team, little DSS minions, and training people how to do what I do, and also focus on some core values, which was empowering the youth to do digital storytelling, to tell our story, and also empower an Indigenous women's media group, and do the best I can to help them with the tools that they need to continue to tell a story from an Indigenous perspective.
So what's next for you now?
What's next is we're editing this video. We're here in Santa Cruz and soaking up the sun and much needed water of life that's around us. And right now what we're doing is we're educating the public and educating the academic arena and the law students on what's happening there in Standing Rock, but also educating the local police departments on here's what's going on over there. Would you approve water cannons? Would you approve your local fire department participating in this? Would you shoot people in the back? Is this normal to fire percussion grenades in the middle of crowds? No, they're not. And so it's doing a lot of educating. Morton County is going to be the place that an officer does not want to be a part of. And so, doing in the local areas in Washington and asking people the same thing is not, it's appalling from what they're witnessing. So the goal is to educate and empower the community to look and see what's going on and put Morton County under the microscope, but Dakota Access Pipeline under the microscope. When you have a international energy company that's using domestic resources and tools, the tool is Morton County. The tool is FAA by trying to do no-fly zones using their resources. We really need to keep an eye on that. And also when you're looking at only a government has eminent domain. When this company has eminent domain in their international and domestic territory, also broken treaty land, there's a big wake-up call here. And now with the new administration coming in, they want to privatize tribal lands for the resources. It's another form of genocide. And when we're looking at how much this movement has contributed to Bismarck financially, economically, the fiscal year, you ought to check that out. Take time, all the guys that do fiscal reports, and see how much money this movement has segued the businesses of Bismarck. They contributed a huge amount, the indigenous people there. So Morton County is continuing to try to capitalize on funds and legal fees as well. And they're trying to ramp that up. So I encourage the citizens of Morton County, if this has happened to us, it's going to happen to you. And take aware to your laws, take aware to your law enforcement. The world knows them as oil police. And I think Young Turk said it best, is this is the Pinkerton oil police for hire, for a corporation. And we just have to be aware that this is here in the second decade of the 21st century that indigenous people are still fighting for their land and water and to protect sacred sites. But we'll no longer let that happen anymore. We're going to tell the story that we've been seeing for the last 500 years, and it's not pretty. And for a lot of our non-native relatives out there, the way you honor us or honor yourself and your family is to know about the issues that we're going through, educate yourself, and empower yourself to see what's happening out there. Do some research on it, and don't just take my word for it. Look at Morton Counties, look at the Bismarck Tribune, see how media fabricates everything. That's why we're doing it live, so you can see it in real time that it's not fabricated.
And so just quickly, so now we'll go ahead and wrap up. Now, what is it that you were doing before you came to Standing Rock? What is your profession? And
I've been working with the youth for 20 years at youth at risk, teen suicide, sexual abuse, violence against women. I'm also a professor and do digital storytelling throughout any country, training, and also protecting our sacred sites back home, documenting our water that's happening in the Walker Paiute tribe. Is our water is being diverted by special interests, as well as upstream farming, corporate farming that's also knocking out the farmers, and trying to heal from witnessing the loss of our traditional food source, the trout in Walker Lake. And we've had encroachment from the area on both sides, the Fell and Naval Air Base, as well as the Army, and been bombing in our lake for years. And now we have no more fish in our lake. That was our traditional food source. That was our way of life. We're called Agaitica, trout eaters. You know, so it's really hard for me to, I guess, educate the world about what it is that, how our DNA is made up from our traditional food sources, because it no longer exists there. And so that's going to change the way our people have their ceremonies, our people, how they conduct their balance in the day. And it's a nutritional genocide that happened. So documenting that and trying to find a solution for our people so we can survive in a good way from the historical trauma that we've witnessed along with Indian country for the last 500 years.
Okay, so you also have a team that you're looking out for. So how can people donate to you, or how is that accessible?
So you can PayPal.me.digital smoke signals. That's the easiest way right now. And or go on Digital Smoke Signals on Facebook. But digitalsmokesignals.me or PayPal.me.digital smoke signals is the immediate way. So far, we've been out here, and there's a team of 10 to 15. It fluctuates with Digital Smoke Signals, and the goal is to help our independent media empower themselves with the tools that we need. So, again, I want to say thank you to all those who donated during the movement. You know, we've had hard drives, SIM cards, flash drives. You know, those are the most batteries for cameras. These are the most essential things to be out on the field. Battery packs, converters for your car. I mean, it just goes on and on of the small little things. Eating at the hotel when they come up and edit. We're different than anyone else. You know, when you're an editor, you need a quiet place to focus on what you're doing. We had a lot of people contributing in the rooms, and so it was a very different, unique, I think, time for Indian country being in a digital divide and able to get all this footage online. We went to Bismarck a lot of times to get faster internet. We went to Fort Yates, different areas around, away from Prairie Night, because it wasn't a safe place, the Prairie Night's casino. And then at times when we were all together, everyone felt safe. They got to eat, take care of each other, 24/7 coffee going. And there was some relatives here in California that I seen gave me a lot of coffee. And I posted it on Digital Smoke Signals. I think it was Azteca Coffee or something like that. And David also posted, sent some coffee from the local coffee shop. We went over there, and you see no DAPL on their billboard. And one of the ladies that was serving coffee to us, she was actually at Standing Rock in the Two-Spirit camp. So it's right on. She was helping the medic team. So it's powerful to come around here and see people that actually have been there, and to see that there's such a large support for Standing Rock and for the indigenous people. But also I've met people that just support indigenous people. That's their goal, is like, you know, they don't get in the mix, they just support them. And so there is a lot of support. It's a lot of support, and how we conduct ourselves is, I just want everyone to know, you know, we're doing the best we can to make sure we conduct ourselves honorably, especially with those donations, and that our walk is that way. And also, even out here, we're in prayer. This water, we're in prayer. It's a beautiful place to be.
Well, thank you, Myron. You've been working 24/7 since I met you, and all of this time. So I just want to thank you for all that you've put into this, and so many people are looking up to you for, you know, the confidence that you have and just the clear thinking and coherent strategy that you keep putting out there for everyone. So I want to thank you. And if you could just maybe close it up with maybe a short prayer in your language.
Oh yeah, I'll give a recap for those that just jumped on. We're gonna go back after LA, after we go back to the event in LA, another one at UC Berkeley. Go back to Standing Rock, get you guys a place where those have been asking, where can we donate, and then what is needed at the camp, and then when can we come up. That's just a quick sum up to make sure I answer those questions. That seems to be the biggest questions right now. And where do we stand with the pipeline? And so to also show you guys that, if they're working or not, we're going to see a gap. We're going to see a 3-week gap. So Pija Yarawa, Nanishtaha, Tsunami Yarawa, Nanishtaha, Pa, Pishapa, Ibipa, Nanishtaha Diapa, Umira, Pijapiwa, Pijapiwa.
Oh, thank you.
First Amendment and the Religious Freedom Act and the Geneva Convention.
So what do you feel like it's important for people to keep an eye on now in terms of if they're, at home and they're wanting to be involved? What is a way that people can still participate in supporting?
Yeah, one way to support is, what I think what the goal of Digital Smokes, is we went home to our families and took care of our spirit. And we were there at camp, and we were there for 5 months straight, and it was a time that we...
Yeah. All right. For those who don't know you, what's your name?
My name is Myron Dewey, founder of Digital Smoke Signals.
And what tribe are you from?
I am Paiute Shoshone Agaitika, from the Walker Paiute tribe, the Bishop Paiute tribe, and also Tamok Shoshone.
And what are you doing now? We'll go back to Standing Rock, but what are you doing now in this time after Standing Rock? What are you in the process of?
We're out here bringing awareness outside of Standing Rock on the Twin Axis. We needed to rotate out and rotate some more in, but a lot of transition happened during them holidays. And so now the goal is to bring awareness on what's going on inside the camp as well as outside, and what can you do? Well, there's a lot you can do. One of the things we need is a cleanup crew because the water's going to raise, the camp's got to move. So it's important to coordinate in your community with, I think, the people on the ground in Standing Rock that are there at the camps, to share with them when the camp starts to move, they need help. I think what's important is that we need at Standing Rock pipeline and the atrocities that it's created going through sacred sites, the historical trauma that it's brought upon the people with the desecration of sacred sites, and also the water, and then educating everyone around about what does it mean, and why should it be important, and why you need to share what we're talking about, and how it'll affect you and your community down the road.
So what communities have you gone to? Are there any you want to mention?
The University of Washington, to the School of Law, Marysville, come down to Oakland, went down to Oakland at the Indian Center over there, the community in Oakland and around San Francisco, and now we're here in Santa Cruz and getting ready to head to Los Angeles. And to bring awareness also that there are around 586 that are pending charges, felony charges, to protect the water and to share with them, how the system and the due process was violated.